Let's bring up our first presentation in the 2.0 competition, Joel Spolsky of Stack Overflow.
Thanks. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Joel Spolsky from Stack Overflow. For those of you that have been living in a cave, is that rude to say that, living in a cave? Stack Overflow is the preeminent website where programmers ask questions, get answers to those questions. It's a part of the Stack Exchange network. Over 19 million globally unique visitors on the Stack Exchange network, a network of over 40 independent Q&A websites. The biggest one, of course, Stack Overflow, gets 12 million monthly visitors. We have about 500,000 people that have contributed, programmers that have contributed a question or an answer. Lots and lots of questions, lots and lots of answers on the site. Some of those programmers are really brilliant. What you're looking at, it's the Mona Lisa, right? But it's been compressed using an algorithm that was developed by one of the Stack Overflow programmers to fit in a single tweet. And you can see that he's using Chinese there because it has more bits. Some of the programmers on Stack Overflow appear to be rather underemployed. And some of them have terrible jobs. Sorry, Iowa. That's where you come in, and that's the whole point of Stack Overflow Careers 2.0, which is the best place on the internet to find your next programmer. Jason mentioned yesterday, a bunch of people in the startup community were complaining about a lack of ability to get programmers. So that's what we're doing here. Let's go straight to the demo. The first thing I'm going to show you is the employer side. What employers see when they go to search for somebody. You can see we've got a concept of an active versus a passive candidate. An active candidate is somebody who is actually looking for a job. Passive candidate is a member of Stack Overflow who might be interested but isn't actively looking. And let's say I want to find, you can see there where they're distributed around the world and what their technology skills are. Let's say I'm looking for a Python programmer in San Francisco. So we'll do a search. What we're doing is actually searching that programmer's activity on Stack Overflow to see how they rank in their tag. And if they're an active candidate, also they get to choose kind of what technologies they want to work in and what technologies they never want to see again. So there's a bunch of Python candidates in San Francisco. You can see by the map of the world that some of them just want to move to San Francisco, and I don't blame them. But let's go ahead and find the ones that are already in the Bay Area because I don't feel like relocating anybody. And right now we got 23 active, and we got a list down the left-hand side. And there's Michael Arrington. So I didn't realize he was a Python programmer. Let's bring up his profile. There you go. There's the technologies that he likes. It looks like a regular resume. It's got his experience and education and stuff like that. But if you scroll down, this is the really useful part for hiring. You can see answers that he's written on Stack Overflow and judge for yourself whether this is a real programmer or just somebody that has a resume that looks like a real programmer. So that looks like assembler. This guy looks like a bozo. Can we go to the next guy? Jason Calacanis. Oh, I didn't realize you were a Python programmer, Jason. Cool. He's answered a few thousand Python questions on the Stack Overflow. Once again, usual experience education stuff is on there, but the most important thing is the peer-reviewed questions that he's been answering on the site. So I like this guy. I want to hire him. I'm going to send him a message. Click on that little thing. The message is pre-composed for me because I send all the same messages describing how awesome it is to work for us. And that's how that goes. Let's look at it from the other side now. If you are a programmer on Stack Overflow, the first thing to know is that this is a very exclusive group. It's invite only. You cannot buy your way anymore onto the system. And you're either invited by the company because of your work on Stack Overflow or by your peers who say, hey, this guy's good. I think you should incorporate him. Young Jason here has a resume that has shown up on Careers 2.0 or a profile. It doesn't have any information on it yet, but it is linked to his Stack Overflow account. And so the first thing he might want to do is go in there and choose some of the answers that he's written that he thinks best represent him as a programmer, which will appear on his profile for employers to look at, and that's fairly easy. And then because this is sort of replacing a resume, he may want to put his experience and education in there. It's just the usual fill out the fields, but since that can become tedious, we also have a LinkedIn import. So with one click, you can go plink. With 2 clicks, you can import. With 3 clicks, you can import your LinkedIn experience and education to bring that in. And once you've done that, that's it. You've got your whole portfolio there, your resume, your experience, and some of the great answers that you've been writing on Stack Overflow. So that's the demo. We think that the old system of resumes that have a bunch of kind of nonsense on them is a big waste of time. Nobody really cares. It doesn't mean you're a good programmer just because you went to Harvard or worked at Microsoft. That's not really evidence that you're going to be a good programmer. We want to see the code, and we want to see programmers showing their great work. That's Careers 2.0 by Stack Overflow. It is going to be live in a few minutes at careers.stackoverflow.com. Thank you.
Awesome. Some questions from the judges. Daniel, I know you work with programmers. That's a big part of what Microsoft does. What did you think?
Terrific. Overall, concise. Nice that you do the import from LinkedIn and other things like that. I think that's smart. There's a need.
Clearly.
You got the tools. People need the talent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Drew, fan of Stack Overflow, I'm sure.
Yeah, I really like the concept. You know, we're always looking for great engineers, and you know, I'm going to send this to our recruiting team like right after this. So
There's a big endorsement. Dave?
I liked it too. Is it free, or we have to pay for it?
It's free for the job seekers. The employers obviously are paying for it. It starts at $500 for a 1-week access to the database. So if you're just looking to hire 1 or 2 people, you can try it out with a $500 1 week. And then if it kind of works out for you, you can subscribe with as much as an annual subscription, which goes to $5,000. There's a money-back guarantee, which nobody else has. So if you don't find somebody, you don't pay.
And is Dice your kind of primary competitor in this?
Yeah, except for the fact that they're kind of an undifferentiated sourcer of resumes as opposed to an actual way to analyze somebody's work. The traditional Dice, Monster, Career Builder, et cetera, are kind of our competition. We feel like we get you a lot farther in the recruiting process. Like we get you past the first screen, essentially. You can sanity check if somebody's actually a programmer, and that eliminates probably 90% of the resumes that you would receive from a sourcing service.
What does the interface look like for actually like reaching out to a candidate or vice versa? Do we have like your eharmonymatch.com kind of back and forth?
Yes. It's like, do you want to talk to this guy?
Yeah.
It sort of depends on the state of the candidate. So if it's an active candidate, they're going to receive a message directly and they'll get an email. If they're a passive candidate, the next time they log on to Stack Overflow, we will ask them for permission to include them and allow them to be contacted.
And what about, is there anything with like GitHub? Are you able to import or link, code samples from that? 'Cause I know
We actually think that linking to code samples from GitHub is really valuable. Right now, we have a very simple URL linking feature, but one of our highest priority features would be to actually bring code samples, blog posts, GitHub repositories, tweets, anything that a developer considers a part of their personal profile onto that profile page and one box it.
and there's an opt-in process from being a Stack Overflow user to being listed on this. Or is it
The
on
Stack Overflow users that are active candidates, it's invite only, so they have to be invited. There are also Stack Overflow users who employers can search if we have enough information about them, but they're not really considered in the system. So those are the passive candidates, and those users would then have to opt in after we tell them that there are people looking at them.
Have you thought about the fine print on the IP that people post up there?
The IP that's on Stack Overflow has always been under Creative Commons. So our entire database is downloadable. There's a BitTorrent somewhere where you can get the whole.
But people's work, for example.
People's work is actually a part of that
Same
Creative
principle.
Commons, and when they contribute it,
Great.
it's
Good.
Creative Commons.
Great.
Hey, have you thought at all about, this is sort of tangential, but any innovation around the business model related to, can I talk about business model?
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Is
Encouraged
that,
to. Yeah.
around the business model related to either helping developers make a lot more money?
One of the things that we've noticed on Stack Overflow is that a lot of people in there are, like I say, great developers at the Iowa City Department of Transportation or whatever, and they're working on some payroll application, and they don't even understand what market is for what they do, and they don't even realize
That's what I'm talking about.
what they're worth in the world. And that's sort of part of our goal, is to elevate some of those people into real jobs where they get paid competitively, and kind of make them visible for that. And one of the great things about Stack Overflow is if you look at our top users, they're not really famous programmers. They're not like the people that you know, but they are amazing. I mean, they're really absolutely incredible, and they're usually toiling away somewhere being relatively unrecognized. So Stack Overflow is a place both to learn more about how to be a better developer and pretty much just kind of bootstrap your career to the next stage.
Great. Let's hear it for Joel and Stack Overflow's Careers 2.0.
Thank you. Thank you.